Welcome to the Fly Fishing Insider Podcast, where each week we speak with brands, icons, innovators, and trailblazers within the fly fishing industry, exploring both the successes and failures they've encountered along the way to become who they are today. But first, if you have not yet subscribed to the podcast or joined our email list, please do so by going to the flyfisherinsiderpodcast.com, or you can also find us on Instagram at flyfisherinsiderpodcast. Now let's begin. Welcome to the Fly Fishing Insider Podcast. Today our guest is Linda Leary. Linda is the owner of Fishe Wear. Linda's here today to tell us more about the brand that's catching on quite quickly within the industry. Linda, welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you. Appreciate it, Greg.
Yeah, no worries. I'm super pumped you're here. I know we've been trying to make this happen for a while, but now it's happening. So, and I know the guests are the listeners are going to be happy as well. Linda, I want to kind of want to go back to the beginning here. So tell us a bit about yourself. And I mean, you're from Alaska. So, I mean, you have a world-class fishery up there. So tell us about yourself and the fishing that you're interested in.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Maine and moved to Alaska right out of college. And so grew up fishing with my dad in Maine, fly fishing primarily. And then when I got up here, it's just a whole different class of fishing. And it's, a mix of catch and release fishing, and then it's a mix of subsistence fishing, right? So salmon and everything else. So, so I spent most of my career in the trucking industry. I was a partner and for the last several years ran a trucking company here in Alaska. And then we sold, and I decided to kind of take a look at something fun that I really enjoy doing and have a entrepreneurial spirit about growing businesses. So that's kind of how we get Fishe Wear started and kicked off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel you. So I think there's a lot more to that though. I mean, like you're up there, are you a fly fisher? You know what I mean? Like, are you passionate about that? Like, and tell us about like what region are you fly fishing in Alaska? I mean, you're so spoiled up there, and I know many listeners, including myself. I've been there, and I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, it's the beauty of it as well as it's just a raw beauty, and the fishing is extreme at times. So any adventure in Alaska can turn pretty dangerous at any time just because of the weather and the conditions. But it's also, I think, the challenge of it and, the size of the fish, big or small. And you'd often think of Alaska as having, lots of space for fishing, but sometimes some of our fisheries get a little crowded. So this year it's mostly Alaskans fishing, so they're kind of enjoying having some space to enjoy the state and get out and fish. So we miss our tourists for sure.
I was just going to ask you. I was literally just going to ask you. I'm sure the tourism is suffering though, unfortunately. And are you guys back open? Like, just to get off topic here for a sec, but is Alaska open for business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much, except for we have a quarantine travel restriction, so you have to test before you come in, and then test once you're here again, also, and or quarantine for 14 days. So it's pretty much cut back the tourism industry. Most of those businesses are down 90%. It's really tough.
It is tough.
Really tough.
And I mean, in Alaska, I mean, like, especially for tourism, I mean, that is your bread and butter. Like, that's huge, right? So, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Big piece of it.
So, how long have you been in Alaska?
I moved here in 82.
82, yeah. I'm no math guy, but I'm that's over 20 years, and we're Yeah. I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is like, talk about the development, like talk about the fishery. Like, have you seen a change in the fishery and the fishing up there in the last 20, 40 years?
Like with a lot of fisheries, I think they work really hard to maintain the fishery so that you have fish for the future to fish, and that one thing that we notice, if it gets overfished, the fish become smaller, the runs are smaller,
Mm-hmm.
in conjunction with other things that are maybe happening in the oceans. And so to really work hard to really manage the fishery so that it's healthy and stays as robust as possible. But
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, Linda. Definitely.
Unpredictable at times.
Yeah, I agree that it's a well managed. You have a decently well managed fishery, considering how big your fishery is. So, one of the things, and we talk about this, is you mentioned earlier, is you're into the trucking. You have an entrepreneurial spirit at heart. And for those that don't know, you started Fishe Wear. And Fishe Wear is, I don't want to ruin it. Why don't you tell us about Fishe Wear?
So I started Fishe Wear about 5 years ago, and I knew nothing about clothes and manufacturing. But I rented an office from a friend of mine, and she's a photographer and marketing person. So I knew she'd be a great one to brainstorm with. So I always sit in my office and just put sticky notes all over the wall and white sheets and really work hard to try and kind of sort out where I wanted to go with Fishe. And it really resulted in knowing that I wanted to design some clothing and gear for gals to enjoy the outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
Fly fishing was the main focus, but really fishing in general and just getting out and having the confidence to get out there and fish. And then we added the education and the travel part to it. But the gear is really designed so that it fits women. It's fun and colorful. It's a bit of a disruptor in the market because it's very different from what's out there, but it's kind of an extension of an expression of what I like, and fun. It's trying to be fun and not too serious, and yet technical clothing that works for the application.
Absolutely. And it's funny you said that word disruptor, because I was leaning on that, and I was gonna say it's not just like a clothing, it is a disruptor. And what was your concept, or what was your idea when you went in there to create this vibrant, fun, funky clothing? Like, did you know it was going to be a disruptor, and at the level of disruption that you are at? Like, walk us through that. What was your thinking?
Well, I would be out fishing with friends, and we'd, compare the clothes we had and whether it fit the application, and just thinking about how you could create it differently. So lots of hours of conversation when fishing was slow. And, so it came out from a combination of conversations, and who says something can't be different, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, just because it's always been that way, why can't you change it? And I remember one time I was visiting with a large fly shop, and I asked them where their women's section was, and I said, "Well, it's a little one-rounder over there." And I said, "Well, why don't you carry women's fishing clothing?" "Well, women want things that fit and are colorful." And there wasn't anything else. And I was like, "Well, that's our business plan, basically." But we want some stuff that's fun, and then we also have an art side to it. And so we work with primarily female artists to create art that we can put on our clothing and just be an expression of what they see in the fish as the artists are drawing it. And, for us, we're just lucky to have had some fabulous artists, and I kind of like to just we give them some input, but we just really like to let them.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in on
freelance.
Go ahead, Linda. Go ahead.
Oh, no, we just like to have them kind of just see what they're going to come up with more than anything.
Which makes sense. And I'm going to touch base later on the artists, because you got some great artists there. So, but I want to get back to that. It's funny that you mentioned, like, we have that one rounder, in the fly shop, that when the fly shop said, oh, we have that one rounder. Now women are one of the fastest demographics in growing in this sport, where major brands are really throwing big bucks at quality functional gear for women, because they know this is a market that's exploding. Women are getting into it. Women are getting behind it. And I know you have a lot of big people behind your brand as well, supporting you, that are well known in the industry. And, for those that don't know, what are those women that are really pushing, the Heather Hudsons and the Jen Ripple from Dunn Magazine, tongue tied there, what are these women doing? They're out there. They're supportive of your stuff. Like, who else is out there supporting this stuff and getting it into the shops?
Well, I mean, it's crazy how much wonderful support we have. And I think, we really, like Heather, Jen, myself, and many others, we really work on uplifting and supporting other women and making sure that, that we can create and be open to listening to creating things that women want and like, and we're smaller, so we can be a little more nimble and flexible to create some fun things. It's a big undertaking to do it, but it's super fun. It's challenging. It's very creative. And so we have a slew of ambassadors that we work with, and then also pro staff, and we just can't thank enough all the support that they give us. And then we have our these fabulous collaborations with Orvis, Extra Tough, Groove Rings, and others that are have been just really open and generous to work with us and to kind of brainstorm with us and be very supportive. And
you're so modest, Linda. So you got a collaboration with Orvis, you mentioned? Is that for the 50/50?
Yeah. So we created a couple of, they had some sling bags, some bags, a sling bag and a hip pack, and then a carry case, rod case that we have that's our art is on, which is just beautiful. And hopefully we'll be able to do other things with them as well. And then Extra Tough, which was pretty big and exciting for us as well, has taken some of our art and put inside of their boots and used in the design of their boots. That just launched last fall. And and then Groove Rings, those guys are originally from Alaska, and they've been putting our art on their rings. And
awesome.
So women can have, and the guys like them too. So, and that's the fun part. Half our clients are guys buying things for the women in their lives because they want to be able to get them out fishing, and it's great. And then there are guys, that there's certain of our things like a wavy belt or neck tubes, or the leggings can be a base layer. It's like an Under Armour base layer, and you can wear shorts over it. Yeah, why not have fun?
I was gonna say, it sounds like you guys having fun up there in Alaska at the shop. So I love it. It's fun. It's fun. It's funky. It's functional. I mean, that's everything most people want in a clothing. For fishing. What are some of the challenges you had? I mean, you've got all this great success. You've got these collabs with these mega brands. You've got some ambassadors. You got pro staff. I mean, this is the dream come true for many people out there starting off trying to start a clothing business. But I'm sure it wasn't always as uphill as it has been for you. So what are some of the behind the scenes challenges that, people might not know about?
I think with any business, whether it's clothing or trucking, there's ups and downs in the economy, right? There's always challenges with budget, making sure you have a strong budget and cash flow, and selecting really good vendors to work with and negotiating with them, and then Some of my vendors, I fly in and meet them and try to build relationships with them. And a lot for me, I'm lucky because I had so many years of experience before with a much, much larger company, but all the components of running a business are the same, really. Mm-hmm. And, you just have to really have a good strategic plan and then make sure that you're following that plan and be on it every day.
I agree with you about the strategic plan. Now, I'm assuming that when you said your strategic plan, you're referring to like a business plan. So a business plan for someone starting up, understanding that and whatnot. So it's not as fun and as funky as much as you guys like to have fun up there in Alaska. It's not all fun and funky. You do have a straight line goal, which is great to hear as well. So, Linda. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Oh no, I said we have. You have employees you have to take care of. So you got to make sure that you have a strong team. So.
Yeah. How many people are on the team?
Right now I have 3 full-time and a part-time. I have a school teacher that helps me in the summer with part of my program, and then 3 other full-time.
Cool.
And me.
Nice. So you guys are crazy. You guys are busy. You're crazy busy. So one of the things now I want to get back to the artists, because I think I really want to, and I want to spend some time on this because I want to focus that. I mean, your art, and this is why, I like your product, just strictly due to the visual aspect, and you can tell, at least I can tell, knowing your product, that's Fishe Wear when I see it on the water, or when I see someone in the mall, or at a restaurant, or I don't go. If I went to bars, I don't go to bars. But if I went to a bar and I saw it there, then you know what I mean. Because is that distinctive wear, and that's almost like that. In my opinion, that is the branding of Fishe Wear, which is the coolest thing. It just morphed into that. So a lot of that is due to the artists and the work that they've done. So who are your artists? Where do you get them from? Are they local, and where do they draw their inspiration from to create the work?
So I have an artist, one here in Alaska. I've got a couple down in the States I've worked with, and they primarily, what we do is just give them a fish to draw up, and the fish, I'll have multiple photos of a specific fish that we want to draw, and have them draw, and then we just give it to them, and we give them, just say, come back with what you want to make for us, and knowing that it's something that has to have, we'll give them some specific parameters of kind of what we like and how they draw it, but primarily we just want to let them express themselves, and that whole process is super fun and beautiful, and but it's it takes a lot of time. It's a long process. Yeah, and then we have graphic designers we work with too. So we have graphic artists that we work with, and so that's been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be fun for the artists as well. You can't take away their creativity, but it's just it's hard to describe. You can hear the passion in my voice talking about it, because the artwork is so vibrant. It's just so vibrant. It's just so cool. I love it. So, what's one of your top selling art? Is there a specific thing? Is it a grayling, or is there a salmon, or is there a trout, or a redfish? What's the best one? What's moving?
Probably the grayling. We call it our groovy grayling. So that's the other thing too. We have a lot of fun naming things. So we have a whole text rounder that goes out, usually to my husband and my sons first, ironically, because they're very funny and they love naming things. So we'll have a big family text that goes out, and I'll say, okay, here's the fish, and come up with some names. So then we'll include a round of a bunch of other friends, and that's kind of how we name them. And my son came up with the name of our company.
Yeah.
Which took a lot, which was many months of noodling over how to name it and making sure there wasn't any other trademarks. And so, yeah.
Cool.
That's super fun. Mm-hmm.
That's it's always fun when you can send out a text message saying "K, name it and go," and then just I bet you guys got some
Yeah.
funny names coming back in.
Oh my gosh, really funny. Yeah,
Have you
some
ever?
that cannot be printed.
They can be said, but they can't be printed. Have you ever thought?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about bringing your consumers into to naming a product just for, like a marketing point of view or something like that? Have you ever thought of that, or is that something that you
I
know?
I think. Well, actually, we did a one time we hosted a women's breakfast at our office, and we had our U.S. senator in town, so she was at our place, and so we put all these white sheets on the wall, and we had these gals. We had some names up there that we'd written, and we said, "Okay, help us come up with this name and vote on it." So they were, markers and white sheets, and they were voting on it and adding other names. And so, yeah, we love to collaborate. So we try to do a lot of that as much as we can.
It definitely sounds like, it sounds like you guys are having a ton of fun up there. So, in all this fun and chaos of, naming and text messages and going around and all that, hanging out with senators, what, tell me about the educational stuff you guys are doing, educational and the trips, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so we bought women's fly fishing from a lady named Pudge Kleinkoff, and she had a 30-year history here in Alaska of teaching women how to fly fish, and she wanted to retire. So, we're kind of carrying on her legacy, and it was a great fit with Fishe Wear to have, this more of, a real authentic side of teaching women beginning fly fishing, and then doing some guided trips. Guided and hosted trips with at lodges, and or like this weekend we went out to a facility that's on a small lake with cabins, and we hosted gals fishing. We did my husband taught a cooking class on fishing salmon. We taught him to tie flies. We worked them all the way from beginning casting to getting them out in flow tubes on the water and catching fish. So that was super fun. And so we do some of that. And then with COVID, we've actually done a lot of our classes online. And so we'll do the kind of the classroom part instead of doing it here in our office in Anchorage. We'll do it online, which allows people from the States to call in. And then in-person casting, just small groups here at our facility. So
I love the resourcefulness that you've done with like the online, like during COVID, you know what I mean? You adapted, it was there. So, but I want to touch base about the courses. Like, can you go into detail? Like, what are you teaching? Are you teaching me how to cast? Are you teaching me, how to fish for silvers? Like what are the courses?
So right now it's mostly beginning fly fishing, and then we'll have, so it's like the history of fly fishing. How do you put your rod together? What are the different flies? And how to cast. And then we'll actually go into the mechanics of casting and get them out in the field and cast for an hour and a half. And then we'll talk about safety. We'll talk about all the clothing and gear that you wear and show them that. We'll talk about waders and boots, and then how to correctly hold the fish and how to release it. And so that can take that's several hours doing all that. We've had some guest teachers. So like when Heather Hodson's in town, she'll usually do a session for us, either on spay casting, or she'll do a more drills for fly fishing for beginners, especially, or intermediate. And we have fly tying classes throughout the winter, and we're trying to add more. We're actually adding a teenage girls summer camp this year.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 4 afternoons throughout a month where they can come in, and we're going to teach them fly fishing. They're going to do hikes. They're going to have a guide come in and tell them about guiding and fishing, and a couple other things that the girls have. So yeah, I've got this terrific, very
cool.
energetic young staff. Yeah, that's really been fun, and we've gotten some good response. That's brand new this summer. Trying to pivot and make sure that we can generate some revenue to cover all of our costs. So, because some trips have had to be canceled, because you can't get into some of the areas. The villages won't let us in, rightfully so.
Exactly. But, one of the things that's come of it is you have created these courses, you have created these classes, and you're about to create something for the next generation of fly fishing, the youth, the girls. Like, that is giving back 100% in my eyes. That's great. You say it's to cover costs, but it's bigger than that. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
It's bigger than that. It's not to cover costs.
Yeah, it is.
Because, I have a feeling that you guys would make it through this law. This is something that you want to do, and the passion's there to do that for sure. What else?
Yeah, absolutely.
When we're talking about passion, what else is it that you're passionate about with this business, or where would you like to see this business go? Like, a Sims waiter collab kind of thing, like where for a collab, like what's like blue sky, like where do you think you'd like to see this?
Well, I have a swing for the fence one, I call it.
That'll work. Yeah.
This is my COVID brainstorm. You gotta have some big wins, right? And so I have one that I'm working on. I probably can't say right now, but I don't know if it'll go anywhere. But I do have some, and then we're also trying to look outside of the industry, right, for collab things that are not traditional that could fit in with our products. And I'm fascinated with learning the bass industry, the bass fishing industry.
Yep.
And so we just brought on an ambassador. It's a bass fisherman, and she does some fly fishing, but mostly, gear. And so I just think that it'd be so fun to learn more about that as well, and just expand my understanding of fishing and different sectors of it. So
like why paint yourself really into a box, right? Fishing's fishing, and if your heart is there for fishing, it doesn't always have to be for in this case fly fishing, right? For your product brand, there's you're there to influence and help women feel great in the sport, and it shouldn't matter if it's fly fishing or conventional gear. It doesn't matter. You're there, you're helping. No. And that's fantastic on you guys. What made you want to do that move into, like, what was that? Just again that swing for the fence, blue sky, COVID brain, sitting in Alaska on those like long winter nights or days. You're just like, okay, well, I need a project, so let's get into the bass fishing market. Like that's cool. I talk about that, yeah.
Well, I think that, gals, so when I go back to thinking about the concept of what we're doing, for me, I've been in the business world my whole life working. And so every day you get ready to go to work, you dress so that you are dressed for the role, you're confident, and it makes a difference in your day, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing for fishing, right? Women have clothes that fit. They're comfortable, they're technical, they're going to help them do what they're setting out to do correctly, then it's going to make the experience that much better, and they have much more confidence. So the same thing should fall for bass fishing, really. They don't, I think there's a big opportunity there to create some fun clothing for them that is both technical and it lets them express themselves. And it's not just like an offshoot of what the guys are wearing, right? And I don't know. We haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm more on the research piece of it right now, along with some great help from our ambassador. And there's women that love fishing and love getting in the outdoors. So why not try and figure out what they like?
I can say this, and the reason why I bring it up is because I'm going to revert back to something here. And I had a conversation with the Woman Angler podcast, Angie from there, and Jen Ripple was helping me co-host that
Oh
show,
yeah.
right? So I don't know if you remember that episode
Mm-hmm.
where I brought up, why is the conventional angling industry still gearing like the pink rods, the pink waders, and all that? So for you to,
Yeah.
and Angie's like, I never really thought of that. And you can go back on
Yeah.
our episode list here, and you'll listen to that episode, and you're like, and like in fly fishing, like it's like the brands are like, no man, we're taking action, we're noticing this. Women want functional gear that's technical, it's going to work, it's fitting, it's good,
Mm-hmm.
like all the stuff you're doing. So for you to get in, I think you're going to open, you got great things ahead of you is all I got to say. And for the bass market, good for you on that. It's a great direction for you guys to go, like to grow and to get that product out there, to get the people the knowledge and all that sort of stuff. So I wish you well in that for sure. Yeah. Definitely. Besides conquering the world, what else you got going on?
I also do a little business consulting on the side, and so that's really fun because it helps me keep my practices sharp, and it helps me because I learn a lot from my clients as well. So it helps me run Fishy better. So I do a little bit of that too on the side, and then try to get out fishing.
Nice.
Going out this weekend in Bristol Bay, out to the Nishigack River, fish for king.
Oh, you're killing us. Someone's driving their car right now listening to this podcast going, I'm going to work. And there's Linda headed out to
out to Bristol Bay.
Yeah. Oh, you're killing me. So how's Bristol Bay doing right now?
I'll be able to tell you better this weekend, but
okay.
It's tough because with COVID, there's a lot of restrictions, and then for a lot of the lodges, probably 70% or more of their clients are from the lower 48 or Europe, and most of them aren't traveling here because it's just too complicated, I think. So and a lot of the lodges aren't even opening up. So the ones that are there are really focused on getting Alaskans in there and or travelers that can take off an extended period of time so that they can quarantine and meet all the requirements. So it's been tough on them, but there should be a lot of fish out there.
Well, that's what I was thinking. At least the fish stocks, I mean, on a positive again, is the fish stocks will be pretty healthy. I know in BC too.
Mm-hmm.
In BC, we're experiencing, I mean, we're not that far apart, to be honest. And it's the same, give or take, it's close to the same fishery. I mean, we don't have a Bristol Bay, but it's, same fish coming through, all that sort of stuff. And, it's kind of devastating. It's hard to watch these lodges and guides and people just, suffering it out. But on the other side, like hopefully, the fish stocks are healthier and things kind of rebound in that regards. Just due to the less pressure and stuff. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we got to get there. So what, when we get back to Fishy here, but when we talk about Fishy, like what, you talk about swinging for the fences, you got all these other projects on the go, like where's the marketing? Like, how are you getting your product out there? Like who's carrying it? How can we get this, like through this podcast alone? How can we get this product into shops or something? Like walk me through all this process.
So the other thing that we did, well, we've been doing a few wholesale accounts in the state. So Fishe fly shops have been carrying our product up until this spring, and then ironically, I started working last fall and early this year to add some sales reps, independent reps that could rep our product. So we have a group of them in place now, and it's perfect. Even though COVID hit, it gave us time to kind of get set and get in the groove with those guys and get them out selling and reaching out to markets. So we're well positioned for that now with terrific group of independent reps that are going to be talking to the shops about our products. So
awesome. It's
but yeah,
it's much needed, right?
Into it.
I just figure.
Pardon?
I just figure it's logistically it's hard. I mean, when down in the lower 48 is where all the shops are, and the bulk of the population. You're up in Anchorage. I mean, you can't be doing weekly trips to show product. Nope. So it's nope. Strategically it's smart. So definitely.
Yeah. We have reps helping us, and we'll look forward to hopefully they get they'll sell through the summer season and hopefully get some good orders for next year. So, and we're working real hard on our products and, margins of pricing so that we're in line to make it work for the shops. And, the shops have had a tough go of it too, but I think fishing in general has fared much better than other industries, which is good. So.
Absolutely. We're the restaurant industry. It's just, really definitely. So
terrible.
Linda,
it's hard.
It's all hard, but we're on the rebound, and we're gonna get through this together. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to ask you before I let you go, what else can you tell us about Fishe? What are some final words? What are some thoughts or something that you want to get out there so that people know, hey, we're Fishe, we're here, everyone's loving us.
Well, if it wasn't for all of our customers and all these, enthusiastic anglers out there, we wouldn't be where we are. There is, so much enthusiasm for gals to get out fishing, and they're being so supportive of each other. And then with, Heather Hodson and Jen and all these, Angie, who we got to fish with too. We did a little road trip with all these girls last year. It's just so fun. And then, Orvis did the 50/50 on the water, the film festival. So we did our first film this past year. That was in their film tour. And it's just fun having fishing because you can kind of just express myself and try to make things that women want. So we're always open to lots of ideas and suggestions. So keep them coming.
Yeah, it seems like it's been definitely a wild ride for you, and I hope it continues, and I know it will actually. So I want to help continue that. Where can people find you at?
So we're online at fishewear.com, and then we have if anybody's here in Anchorage, we have a brick and mortar store here in Anchorage, and then we have a whole list of our retailers online on our website as well. So we have lots of shops,
awesome.
Especially in the Rockies and that area and the Northwest. So and they're expanding across the country.
Awesome. So. If I wanted to follow you, which I already am, and if others wanted to follow you on social media, where will we find that handle?
We're on Instagram. We're Fishe Wear, and the same on Facebook.
Perfect. Linda, I'm going to make sure I put all those details within the show notes so that everybody can find you and a recap of our show. So I want to thank you for being our guest today, and listeners, I want to thank you guys as well.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Fly Fishing Insider podcast. If you like this podcast episode, please let us know. Leave a review and subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast listening platform.